Welcome back, Nerd Squad. My name is Roya Destroya, and this is Top 10 Nerd. I want you to take a moment to think about a superhero you know that's been around forever. You probably immediately thought someone like Superman, right? Well, you guys are too smart, so maybe not. But most people out there are under the assumption that Superman was the start of the superhero genre. Such is not the case. So let's take a look at the stories behind the top 10 oldest superheroes. In the number 10 spot, we have Ogon Bat. Ogon Bat was the first Japanese superhero, debuting in 1931 as a character in a Japanese street theater performance. As a superhero, Bat had a skull instead of a head, and had the superpowers of invulnerability, strength, and flight, easily a precursor for Superman, who came several years later, and also a precursor to Batman, and not just because of the name. Coming in at number 9 is Hugo Danner. Hugo was the main character in a 1930 novel by Philip Wiley called Gladiator. His mother was injected with a super serum while he was in the womb, and when he was born, immediate signs of his superhuman abilities were clear. Super strength, super speed, and super healing. He was installed with a very strong moral compass to know right from wrong. Luckily, but this didn't stop him from accidentally abusing his powers from time to time, such as when he almost accidentally beat the school bully to death, something that modern day heroes struggle with as well. Next up at number 8 we got The Shadow. The Shadow began as a serialized radio drama that aired in 1930 during the Detective Story Hour radio program. The character named after the title, The Shadow, was first the narrator only of the program, and with increasing popularity he took on his own character. He had the ability to use hypnotism and cloud people's minds so that they could not see him, similar to modern day invisibility powers. The reason behind this power was simply because radio programs made it too hard to explain how the Shadow was able to hide from so many people. In the number 7 spot is Zorro. Johnston McCulley introduced us to Zorro in 1919 in America magazine All Story Weekly. His real name is Don Diego de la Vega, and as Zorro he defends commoners from villainous and greedy officials. In order to do this, he dons a mask and a cape, normal motifs for superheroes past and present. Of course, his most famous trait is his swordsmanship, and my personal favorite superpower, excellent equestrian skills. Now that is my kind of superhero. Coming in at number 6 is Nightwind. Bingham Harvard was originally a bank clerk framed for theft, and after escaping the police, worked day and night to clear his name. He debuted in the Cavalier magazine in 1913. Oddly, he seemed to have incredible amounts of strength that are not explained. The man was an orphan and seemingly normal human, but he frequently leaves police in a mangled mess while trying to catch the actual criminal. So a bit more of an anti-hero in that case, but he means well. Kind of. Next up at number 5 we have Tarzan. Edgar Rice Burroughs brought Tarzan to us in his 1912 publication Tarzan of the Apes. We basically all know the story of the feral child raised among the apes, thank you Disney, but he can be considered one of the earliest superheroes because his upbringing granted him abilities far beyond human reaches. He can swing and cling like Spidey, he's fought off even dinosaurs with his enhanced strength and stamina, and he can communicate with a multitude of animals. What is good, Aquaman? Up next in number 4 is John Carter. John Carter was the protagonist of A Princess of Mars, written again by Edgar Rice Burroughs in 1912. He was not an ordinary man, as he was 30 years old and had remained that way for as long as he could remember. He was a military captain and gold miner who died while on a gold mining adventure. However, as with modern day superheroes, the death wasn't a true death, but rather his soul was transformed and resurrected. Only thing was, he ended up on Mars instead, where he became a hero to the people of the planet. In the number 3 spot we have The Scarlet Pimpernel. The Scarlet Pimpernel was a novel published first in 1903 by Baroness Orsi, and starring a courteous Englishman named Percy Blakeney. As the Scarlet Pimpernel, he is an expert swordsman and escape artist with a secret identity, who uses his abilities and wealth to rescue individuals sentenced to the guillotine for death. And each time he makes a rescue, he leaves behind a card featuring the Scarlet Pimpernel flower. Coming in at number 2 is Hugo Hercules. Hugo Hercules was a kind man who had superhuman strength and used these powers to help people around the neighborhood. He was strong enough to accomplish feats such as picking up elephants or lifting cars, all the while saying his catchphrase, "just as easy." The character debuted in a self-titled comic strip in 1902. However, the comic market back then was not just as easy as it is today, and the character only survived for approximately 5 months. Not quite Superman material. And finally, in the number 1 spot, we've got Spring-Heeled Jack, the guy with the honor of being the very first superhero-type character ever created. Spring-Heeled Jack was originally a figure of English folklore, apparently cited way back in 1837, a man with the ability to jump great distances and also breathe fire. A playwright named John Thomas Haynes capitalized on the excitement generated by this figure, and he wrote a play in 1840 that was published in the Penny Dreadful novels and featured featured Spring-Heeled Jack, initially a villain who attacks women, but later as a wronged nobleman who helps the poor while wearing a skin-tight costume and mechanical jumping boots. Looks like jumping happens. So those were the top 10 oldest superheroes. Let me know in the comment section down below who is the first superhero you've experienced. My name is Roya Destroya, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another nerdy list.